How much protein do women over 40 really need? That is the question we're going to be answering today. I'm Lee Brewer. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Also, feel free to tell me in the comment section if there's any topics that I haven't covered that you would like for me to cover. So, how much protein do women over 40 really need? And considering I've worked with a lot of women over 40 over the last 15 years, I can tell you that most women over 40 are not taking in nearly enough protein for what they actually should be taking in. So let's get more into this. So, why protein matters more in midlife? It helps maintain and build lean muscle, and this protein gives your body the building blocks it needs to repair and maintain muscle tissue. So that's really important, especially in midlife, because as your hormone profile changes, your body is typically going to start paring down muscle faster unless you give it a signal that it needs to hold on to that muscle. And protein is a huge part of giving your body that signal. It also supports recovery from strength training. So, adequate protein helps you recover so you can train consistently and keep progressing. I see this a lot. Women can be very consistent with their training, but their progress can be stagnant if they're not taking in enough protein. You're not giving your body the fuel that it needs to build the muscle if you're not taking in enough protein. Helping to preserve muscle during fat loss is very, very important. Most of the women that come to me, fat loss is one of their primary goals, and having muscle mass is super important to the fat loss process. You want to make sure you preserve as much of that muscle as you can while you're losing fat, or else your body will start to pare down the muscle along with the fat, which we do not want. This is going to also help improve your fullness and satisfaction. So protein is very good for satiety. It helps you feel fuller longer. So if you notice, if you eat a lot of processed foods or processed carbs, it doesn't keep you full very long. And a lot of times you end up overeating and you get hungry a lot faster. So eating high protein foods, especially if you eat proteins before your carbs, can absolutely help you to feel full longer. So the basic RDA, which is the required daily allowance, is not the whole story. The required daily amount allowance is about 0.36 grams per pound for women over 40. In a lot of cases, and in most cases, this is actually not enough. This 0.36 per pound covers the basic needs for most healthy adults, but it's not it doesn't necessarily optimize uh, keeping and building muscle when you're training and you're trying to work on your body composition. Most active women will benefit from more than this, and actually, pretty significantly more than this, actually. So, if you strength train and you're trying to preserve muscle or you're trying to lose fat, your protein target can reasonably, I need to learn how to say that word properly. Reasonably be much higher. So, for many active women over 40, it needs to be about zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.9 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And as I said, from experience, I can tell you that most women are not taking in this much protein. So, for a 150-pound woman, this would be between 90 and 135 grams of protein a day. That's a pretty wide spread. I would say that most of the women I work with, when they start with me, they are not even on the lower end of this range here. Most of them tend to be around the 60 to 70 grams a day. But if you are actively training, you are an active person and you really want to maintain or even gain muscle, you probably need to be on the higher end of this range. So if you're a 150-pound woman, you actually probably need to be a little closer to the 135 a day. So I know that sounds kind of crazy. If you're only taking in 70 a day, how do I get up to 135 a day? It has to be done over time. You're not going to do it overnight. So it needs to be done a little bit. It needs to be done gradually over time. So don't save all your protein for dinner. This is another thing that I see a lot. where people have low protein breakfast, low protein lunch, and then jam all the protein in for dinner. So, for an example here, 8 grams of protein for breakfast, 15 grams of protein for lunch, 70 for dinner. That's a pretty, well, 70 is kind of extreme, but that's a pretty common thing I see. You don't want to do that. You want to try to spread it out through the day. That's going to be your most consistent way to get the protein. Plus, your body needs that protein throughout the day. Your body will utilize it much better if you're spreading it out through the day as opposed to taking it all at one time. So, like this shows here, 25 to 40 per meal plus protein snacks is is what's preferred. The daily total matters most, but spreading it across the day absolutely helps. So it helps you just be more consistent with hitting that target. Say, for example, if your protein is low through the day and you always depend on getting a high protein dinner, if something happens and you aren't able to get that high protein dinner in, something comes up, then your whole day is under on protein quite significantly. So protein plus strength training, protein provides the building block, strength training provides the signal. You want both. You need the building block and you need the signal. You give the signal, but if you don't have the tools necessary for your body to build the muscle, your body will get the signal, but it still won't be able to build the muscle anyway. Going back to what I said with women that I train, that we're giving them the signal, and if they're not taking in enough protein, then the results get stagnant. So you need to have both. Okay. So, adequate protein, progressive strength training, enough overall nutrition is the combination that best supports muscle strength and body composition. Very important. Both of these are essential for losing body fat effectively. So keep it simple. It's not rocket science. Include protein in every meal. Build meals around quality protein sources and trying to make up the difference at night, what we just talked about. Aim for roughly 25 to 40 grams per meal. Use your daily total as the main goal. So that's the primary thing you should be keeping up with. If you're going to track anything, I actually prefer tracking protein per day over calories per day, because typically if you're getting in your protein target per day, you're probably not going to overeat. Strength train consistently. Again, gotta send your body the signal to build muscle. Protein is the building block, but strength training is the signal. Build muscle, preserve body strength, fuel your body. Protein is one piece of the bigger picture, but it's an important one. You need other factors to build muscle and to have longevity and lower body fat, but protein is a huge part of that. Please come check me out at LeeBrewerFitness.com. My online program, the Midlife Reset, is for women in mid-age, mostly women over 40. So if you like this content and you want to come check out the Midlife Reset, I'm giving a free month of the Midlife Reset between now and Labor Day. I hope all of you enjoy it and have a great day.